Welcome to L&B Show and Tell. This is a very solemn video because this is a vintage Victorian mourning journal. And even though I like to add a bit of joy or a bit of my sense of humor to most of my journals, as some of you know, the last one had zebras, the time before I had the Maidenform bra. This one is all serious. And these pictures, a lot of them are downloaded from Google, and they are real photos, real ads from Victorian mourning era. As some of you know, Queen Victoria mourned for 40 years for her dearly beloved husband, Albert. And it was because of her that the mourning, the grieving business became so popular. There were rules and regulations for women on how to mourn, what clothes they could wear, and there were different customs. If, let's say, your husband died, which was 2 years of mourning, versus a first cousin, which was only 1 month. And here's the big thing, which I'm sure, well, maybe some of you don't know this. So the poor widow had to mourn for 2 years, had to wear only black. But her husband, he only had 3 months that he had to wear black. And then he could wear any color in the rainbow that he wanted. So let's get started, ladies, and let me show you my very solemn, my tribute to the Victorian era. I love this photo. And these are 4 women who are crying. It's probably for their mother or their father, and they had to mourn for an entire year. I added a little tassel and a little tiny black fan because the proper lady did have a mourning fan to go with it. The cover on the front and the back, as you can see, is a 7 Gypsies, and I've really roughed everything up. As you can see back here, it really does look old. And let me open this up and show you what we have here. Here is a real photo of a woman who was mourning. Can't tell whether it was her husband or a mother or father. And this looks suspiciously like a Tim Holtz card. Could be. Don't know if he made them in that era, but you never know with Tim. And then this is a copy of a real postcard in memorial. And let me show you what I got here. All the papers are torn and tattered and tea and coffee dyed. I added buttons because buttons were very popular back then, black buttons. And the pearl also. The pearl was supposed to represent a tear. Love that. So I added everything from poems. This is a poem called Bereavement by William Bowles. And they're really lovely. And here is what every woman and husband, every family needed, and that was to purchase the coffin, the casket, and burial robes. This is an actual copy of a business card. Great find. Nice and torn and tattered. And of course, here is a sympathy card, which were very popular back then. On this page, I just added lots of black velvet, which actually was not used a lot back then. Women had to wear rough black fabrics and not soft like velvet, but I like the way that looked. And over here, we've got a real photo of an undertaker. It was a family event, wasn't it? A fair. And this paper, I love this paper. It's all embossed. I actually got this at Joann's. This is my favorite photo, and the one that I really had to think about before I added it. It is 2 children. I'm assuming brother and sister dressed in black. And laying down is a beautiful little child, a little girl, with flowers in her hair, and she is the angel of the family. But I felt it was important, and I hope she's looking up in heaven, or looking down from heaven and saying, it's okay, Ellen, for you to add that. Here is another poem The Cross of Snow by Longfellow. And then here is, again, another ad for undertakers and coffins, and I added the feather. And what I did add, because in the Victorian era death was such a major part of their life, and so was Ouija boards and tarot cards, because they wanted to connect with the dead. And so I have added a ton of tarot cards, all the death. And let's see, turn this over, some washi tape. And one of the reasons why there are so many ads for clothing is because after you finished the mourning period, you had to throw away your clothes. So it was bad luck to keep them around, and that's why it was such a major business at the time. Another card in memorial. And then here's some more tarot cards. I especially like this one. I think that's lovely. And there's, oh, spooky. I hope you like my papers. I really had fun doing those. And then funerals were very big business, and how big they were that they actually had food designed just for funerals. And these were biscuits that you could buy, and this was these were funeral biscuits, and this was the cover for the funeral biscuits. And then over here I have the warehouse for, and another one of these embossed papers. And then this over here, this is actually the wood, and this is the tombstone. And they spent a lot of money on tombstones back then. That was very important. And then this one, again, and this paper over here is almost like the hard crepe paper that decorated the women of the time, their clothing. I guess it was important for it to be scratchy and stiff, so you weren't comfortable in your clothes. And over here, another postcard and some more tarot cards. And this is a poem by Emily Dickinson. After great pain, a formal feeling comes. So I had to add that. She's one of my favorites. And here we go. Again, another ad for mourning. Really, I love these ads. And here's my Ouija board. Isn't that cute? I like that. That's a real photo of a Ouija board. And this is, I think, my second favorite photo. Look at that. Look at that woman. Completely covered up. You had to hide your feelings back then. I like to think that this might have been her daughter who had passed, and this is a beautiful tombstone for a young woman. And of course I added the buttons. And then over here, my last ad, and this was Jay's, which was a very popular warehouse. And for sudden mourning, what they would do is they would actually come to your house and sew the clothes right then and there. They were traveling. Then over here, these are, the stationery was very important for the women. And so I made the cards here so that, to represent, so that they would have plenty of stationery, since they weren't allowed to go out. And then this is a painting. I thought that was so, just a child and a mother. That was really sweet. And then here we are at the very last page. And on this last page, which again, this looks like a Tim Holtz card. And this is an entire family, very solemn. And I added the little purple button because that's the first color that a woman was allowed to wear. After 1 year, she could add some mauve. So that's it, ladies. As you notice, I haven't, I'm waiting for my new wires, so this is all that I had left. And I decided, because I wanted to show this before I went on vacation. And I hope you enjoyed this. And I would really, really love to hear your comments. I hope you think that I did well and that I didn't make fun of sorrow. And we were at 10 minutes, so I'm going to say goodbye to all and bless you all. Bye-bye.